Good evening. I'm Shanquella Robinson's mother, Salamandra Robinson, and I would like each and every one of you, if you can, anything you can do, step in and help us with justice. We need justice for Shanquella Robinson. It has been 2 years, and there's no reason that no one has not been arrested yet, and I need justice for my child. Thank you.
This morning, a potential legal limbo as Mexican prosecutors seek to extradite an acquaintance of Shanquella Robinson, the North Carolina woman found dead while vacationing in Mexico. Authorities are not currently naming her, but say she is a direct aggressor against the 25-year-old after a video online, too violent to show, reveals Robinson assaulted in her hotel room. Mexican authorities issuing an arrest warrant for that acquaintance, now back in America, for the crime of femicide, the act of killing a woman based on her gender.
On the one hand, the U.S. government is going to take this seriously, and on the other hand, it's not obligated to turn her over.
On October 28, 2022, 25-year-old Shanquella Brenada Robinson, a Charlotte, North Carolina entrepreneur and boutique owner, flew to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, with 6 acquaintances for a short vacation. 1 day later, Robinson was found unresponsive in the luxury villa where the group was staying. Her travel companions told her family she died from alcohol poisoning. When local authorities and Mexican medical personnel arrived, the incident was initially treated as a routine case of intoxication. But within days, conflicting evidence emerged. An official Mexican autopsy listed severe spinal cord trauma and atlas luxation, injuries inconsistent with alcohol and suggesting violent force. And a viral video surfaced appearing to show Robinson assaulted during the trip. Despite these developments and an arrest warrant issued by Mexican prosecutors, no U.S. criminal charges were filed, and questions remain about what truly happened in Cabo. Every case starts with evidence and ends with truth. We examine facts, not theories, details, not drama. This is Sunday Crime, where investigations speak for themselves. Subscribe now and stay updated as we uncover the facts behind every case.
Some breaking news just into our newsroom within the past hour. We're learning that the Charlotte FBI field office has officially opened an investigation into the death of a woman on vacation in Cabo, Mexico back in October. Now, Queen City News first brought you the story about Shanquella Robinson's mysterious death last week. As anchor Morgan Francis reports, police investigating the case are sharing what they've discovered so far.
Thursday, Mexican authorities told Queen City News Shanquella Robinson's friends lied to them about what happened to her prior to her untimely death on October 29th. An officer investigating the case says they interviewed 2 friends at the villa in Cabo who said Shanquella Robinson had alcohol poisoning. The same story her family says they told them.
They said she wasn't feeling well. She had alcohol poisoning. They couldn't get a pulse.
It wasn't until her autopsy came back that Mexican police discovered she had a severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, which is instability in the uppermost vertebrae. They also didn't see this video showing Robinson get violently assaulted until Wednesday. For that reason, their investigation is still open, and they're looking into her death.
There's a huge financial incentive to keep Cabo open and to keep people feeling safe. So to the extent they can find, prosecute, incarcerate the people that did this, in my opinion, they're going to try to do it.
Kurt Kearns is an international attorney with experience litigating international crimes and investigations. Some of what he has to say might not be the most promising news.
It's a sovereign state. So that's the first misunderstanding a lot of people have, is that, hey, man, if I'm an American and I'm in trouble somewhere, boy, they'll come to my rescue. And the reality is, not unless there's a really big interest internationally in coming to your rescue, because they will not upset international relations with a sovereign nation just to help out.
The police officer investigating the case tells Queen City News if they find evidence that leads to an arrest, they have authority to bring the group back to Mexico and, quote, they will have to answer to Mexican law. While the FBI and U.S. State Department say it's not their jurisdiction, it doesn't mean they can't investigate either.
Upon invitation, FBI can come in and assist upon, invitation. The State Department can get more and more involved, but it's only upon invitation, i.e., do they want us there?
That was Morgan Francis reporting. Police again are urging anyone with information to contact the local FBI office, and they will relay that information on to Mexican authorities.
Shanquella Brenada Robinson was born on January 9, 1997, in Charlotte, North Carolina. She was raised by her parents, Salamandra Robinson and Bernard Robinson, and maintained close ties with her family. Robinson attended Winston-Salem State University, a historically black university in North Carolina. After college, she pursued entrepreneurship. She operated a women's clothing boutique and a children's hair breeding business. Publicly available records and social media content reflected consistent business activity and community engagement. There is no documented history of serious medical conditions, violent behavior, or substance abuse. According to family statements, Robinson was in good health prior to traveling to Mexico. Robinson traveled with 6 individuals, later referred to in media coverage as the Cabo Six. The group consisted of acquaintances rather than lifelong friends. Their names became publicly known after the case gained national attention, though none have been criminally charged. The trip was presented as a leisure vacation. Some accounts described it as a birthday-related trip, although Robinson's birthday was in January. No formal itinerary or group event schedule was documented publicly. The group arrived in Cabo San Lucas on October 28, 2022, and checked into a private villa. No incidents were reported publicly on the day of arrival. On October 29, 2022, less than 24 hours after arrival, Robinson was found unresponsive inside the villa. One or more members of the group contacted local medical services. A local physician arrived at the villa. The doctor's initial report described Robinson as intoxicated and dehydrated. She was not transported to a hospital. Robinson was pronounced dead at the scene.
Mexican authorities pursuing their case against an American suspected of killing an acquaintance at a luxury resort. They're looking to extradite the suspect to face charges. ABC's Zareen Shaw joins us with more as that woman still hasn't been named. Zareen, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Janae. A 25-year-old went down to Mexico with some friends to celebrate someone's birthday. And just one day into that vacation, she turned up dead. And now officials have another big problem on their hands. Their prime suspect is no longer in the country. This morning, a potential legal limbo as Mexican prosecutors seek to extradite an acquaintance of Shanquella Robinson, the North Carolina woman found dead while vacationing in Mexico. Authorities are not currently naming her, but say she is a direct aggressor against the 25-year-old after a video online, too violent to show, reveals Robinson assaulted in her hotel room. Mexican authorities issuing an arrest warrant for that acquaintance, now back in America, for the crime of femicide, the act of killing a woman based on her gender.
On the one hand, the U.S. government is going to take this seriously, and on the other hand, it's not obligated to turn her over.
On October 29th, local police reports state that a Baja Resort town guest told medical staff around 2 in the afternoon that Robinson had drunk a lot of alcohol, a doctor determining she was stable but dehydrated. Adding Robinson's acquaintances refused to send her to the hospital. The police report stating the Charlotte native went into cardiac arrest, declared dead by 6 p.m. But an autopsy differing from that report, stating medical officials arrived before 3 p.m., quickly declaring Robinson dead from severe spinal cord injury and a dislocated neck. Robinson's family wants answers.
I'm just waiting on that day when someone can be arrested. That's all I'm waiting on.
As for those contradictions, Dan Abrams tells us that can happen when you have different officials looking into the same case, but that can be problematic for prosecutors. Janae?
Still so many unanswered questions. Zareen, thank you.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.
Shortly after her death, members of the group contacted Robinson's family in North Carolina. They reportedly stated that Robinson had died from alcohol poisoning. At that time, no mention was made of physical trauma or altercations. Mexican authorities conducted an autopsy soon after Robinson's death. The official findings listed the cause of death as severe spinal cord injury, atlas luxation, dislocation of the first cervical vertebrae, and a severe traumatic spinal cord injury. The report stated the injury was caused by blunt force trauma and classified the manner of death as homicide. These findings directly contradicted the explanation of alcohol poisoning. After Robinson's body was returned to the United States, a second autopsy was conducted in North Carolina. The U.S. autopsy reportedly listed the cause of death as undetermined while acknowledging evidence of blunt force trauma. The existence of two autopsies with differing conclusions complicated jurisdictional and prosecutorial decisions. In November 2022, a video began circulating on social media platforms. The footage appeared to show Robinson being physically assaulted by another woman inside a room resembling the Cabo Villa. Robinson appeared unclothed. Multiple individuals were present. Voices were heard encouraging continued violence. The recording ended before any medical intervention. Robinson's mother publicly stated she identified her daughter in the video. Public attention increased significantly. Pressure mounted on both Mexican and U.S. authorities to act. The video was not officially released by law enforcement, and its admissibility as evidence has not been publicly clarified. Following public pressure and autopsy findings, Baja California Sur prosecutors opened a homicide investigation. Mexican authorities announced they had issued an arrest warrant for one suspect on charges related to femicide. The identity of the suspect was not formally confirmed in court records accessible to the public. No extradition has occurred. The suspects were believed to be U.S. citizens who returned to the United States shortly after Robinson's death. Extradition requires cooperation between the U.S. and Mexican governments. No public confirmation exists that an Interpol Red Notice was successfully executed. The Federal Bureau of Investigation opened an inquiry due to the death of a U.S. citizen abroad, allegations of violent crime, international jurisdictional implications. In April 2023, U.S. federal prosecutors announced the Department of Justice would not file criminal charges. The evidence did not meet the threshold required for prosecution under U.S. federal law. The FBI later released limited, redacted records related to the case. Robinson's family filed a civil lawsuit naming members of the travel group, the FBI, and the U.S. State Department. The lawsuit alleged negligence, failure to protect a U.S. citizen, and mishandling of the investigation. Portions of the lawsuit against federal agencies were dismissed. Claims against individuals have faced procedural and jurisdictional challenges. As of the most recent publicly available information, no criminal convictions have been secured. No suspects are in custody. Civil litigation remains ongoing. Mexican authorities have not closed the case. U.S. federal prosecutors have declined charges.
More breaking news now at noon, just into the newsroom. Federal prosecutors will not bring charges in the death of Shanquella Robinson. That announcement coming just minutes after federal authorities met with Robinson's family at the Charlotte FBI headquarters. In a statement from the U.S. Attorney and the FBI, the Fed said there was not enough evidence to bring charges. Robinson died in October last year while on a trip to Mexico with friends. WBTV reporter Brandon Hamilton is at FBI headquarters. You just heard from him minutes ago. He will be at a news conference with Robinson's family set to start at 1:30 this afternoon. That news conference will stream live across platforms, WBTV's platforms, including our news app and the WBTV Facebook page. We're posting the latest right now. You may have just gotten alerted on your WBTV news app about this story and this breaking news that no charges will be filed. Again, you can continue to follow along the app and us here on air and online for those latest updates.
The death of Shanquella Brenada Robinson remains officially classified as a homicide by Mexican authorities, yet unresolved in court. Documented inconsistencies between witness statements, medical findings, and investigatory outcomes continue to raise questions. Despite international attention, the case highlights several systemic issues: limitations of prosecuting crimes involving U.S. citizens abroad, challenges of extradition between countries, differences in forensic standards between jurisdictions, the role of social media in influencing public perception and investigatory urgency. As of the most recent publicly available information, no criminal convictions have been secured, no suspects are in custody, civil litigation remains ongoing, and Mexican authorities have not closed the case. The death of Shanquella Brenada Robinson remains officially classified as a homicide by Mexican authorities, yet unresolved in court. Documented inconsistencies between witness statements, medical findings, and investigatory outcomes continue to raise questions. Despite international attention, the case illustrates the legal and procedural barriers that can prevent resolution, even when a death occurs under documented violent circumstances. Facts verified. Case concluded. Justice is found in what remains proven. This is Sunday Crime. Until the next investigation, subscribe for more verified stories and real criminal investigations.